Welcome to the Ronald H. Silverman Fine Arts Gallery for the solo exhibition by Vojislav Radovanović entitled Bird Circuit. I'm the curator, Jason Jenn. This exhibition pays homage to a series of historic queer bars located in cities like New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. These venues had bird-inspired names that covertly signaled to its clientele that they were safe spaces for queer community to gather at a time that it was illegal to do so. Bird Circuit explores themes of identity, coded meaning, and myth-making. Radovanović is situating his subjects within a lineage of queer subculture. The works are layered with mystery, quiet subversion, and a kaleidoscopic exuberance. Radovanović's birds are not just static subjects, they are emissaries calling for deeper conversation about the ways that queer narratives are expressed, encoded, erased, and ultimately reclaimed through art. There's a lot of affection and flirtation that permeates the exhibition as a transformative way of taking queer, painful history and transforming it in a joyful way. So this exhibition is a really lovely way of expressing the wide range of methods that Vojislav uses. While primarily fine art painting is the core of his process, it also shows up in many of his sculptures, his multimedia assemblages, his sketching, his work with different mediums, and his multi-channel video art piece. My relationship to the artist is unapologetically personal. As his husband, I have watched his practice in the studio where he develops pieces over the course of several months, sometimes years, setting aside some pieces, coming to them later with a fresh perspective, adding new layers. One of the things that Vojislav loves to do in his process is to layer the works and then sometimes scraping or cutting into the works to excavate its history. Art making is a therapeutic process where the method of making the work is often just as important as the final result. It's very transformative for him to work in the studio, to work out any kind of feelings he has in the paintings, and those come across in these works. They're full of color, they're all about expressing the joy of finding queer community here in Los Angeles, where there's a lot of freedom of expression. Vojislav loves to take some of his older works and transform them in new ways by connecting different canvases together, painting over older works that he felt weren't quite as successful as he wanted, but that adds this rich layer of history to them. In assembling these canvases, they take on a very patchwork quality, which is sort of expressive of the diverse cultural experiences that one can find in Los Angeles. He uses a lot of different materials in his work, so you'll find a lot of recycled and repurposed textile, jewelry, glitter, paper, plastic, vinyl, all kinds of materials that are given a new life and transformed through this process of layering the works and uncovering new stories. And sometimes you can see the sort of ghostly remains of the older works, and it gives this rich depth of experience. There are 4 main exhibition spaces in the gallery. Each room contains a different thematic element. In the first gallery, placed side by side, are the artworks Ultraviolet and The Little Love Affair. Both contain pairs of birds coyly checking each other out while perched in the branches of wildly stylized tree. In Birdsong for Bather, a naked swimmer whistles, inspired by the large red bird singing nearby, while the shadow of his hand morphs into a bird, giving his nipple a playful peck. The second room has an immersive installation experience with a reflective pond of this very lush natural setting. We have two large artworks opposite from each other, one that is inspired by the moon and another by the sun. And in the back wall, a very kaleidoscopic portrait. Eyes are a very strong motif throughout the entire exhibition, both human and bird, and coded signals that were transmitted non-verbally, reinforcing themes of desire and surveillance, blurring the boundary between predator and prey, between observation and voyeurism, and objectification. This conceptual device is particularly prevalent in works on the long wall of Gallery 3. Works like Glancing, Cruising, Staring were painted in bright red and blue hues with an emphasis on the eyes, alluding to the homosexual male gaze and the importance of eye signals in queer culture and communication. The eyes can express volumes when words dare not be spoken. The entrance to the back gallery has sparkly curtains that is evocative of entering a back bar room. When you enter the room, you're confronted with a very large-scale multi-channel video of a drag queen getting into costume and playing with a bird. It's an homage to queer cult cinema like Pink Narcissus. And on the back wall, we have one of the most complex works in the exhibition, The Truth Cannot Hide Its Horn, which has gone through many changes through Vojislav's working on it for several years, through many gender swaps, in which the main character wears a garment evocative of the trans pride flag, and she is a female figure on a horse with a tree growing from her head and a strange red mustached monkey-like figure crawling through her branches. The horse has a human face with a large red horn that looks as if it had just ripped a large gash in the painting itself, revealing an artist's palette and the idea of another realm beyond. And the woman holds in her hand a red parrot with a golden key. By reinterpreting the legacy of the bird circuit, this exhibition does more than pay homage to a hidden past. Amid this uncertainty of our present moment, it is gesturing towards the possibilities of a more open, imaginative, and loving future. Vojislav's work is a reminder of the ongoing need for queer sanctuary, whether physical or symbolic, and the role that art can play in spotlighting, expressing, and celebrating those spaces. Birds have long been used throughout history to express the ideas of freedom, beauty, and flamboyance. Bird Circuit proves to be an exhibition that shows that queer culture persists, resists, and refuses to be silenced, that love wins.